This is the inside of the 2019 Benimar Mileo 231. If I firstly come to the main control panel just here, we can turn the 12 volt on by firstly pressing this button just here, followed by this button just here. Once we've done this, we can turn the water pump on and off just here. Water pump needs to be on so we can get water out of the taps, flush the toilet and fill the boiler if it's been drained down. The last button up the top here turns the awning light on and off. Buttons along the bottom mainly give us information. So this first one here will give us a condition of the leisure battery. And then this one here will give us a condition of the vehicle battery. This one gives us an indication of how much water is in the fresh tank. Whenever the waste tank needs emptying, a red light will flash here where my finger is. Whenever you are low on fresh water, this amber light will just flash, and if either of the batteries were low, again you will get flashing indicators. This last button here just controls the illumination of the control panel, so just hold it and it works like a dimmer switch. Here it's letting us know that we have main supply connected to the motorhome, and above it, if I was to start the engine now, you do need to have both these two buttons on. This light would illuminate to let you know the alternator is charging the batteries. Beneath this control panel, we then have the controls for the Truma heating and hot water. If we now press the button, it will turn on and it will display the time, and it will let us know that we have main supply connected. If I now press the button, we will get a series of icons, and as I rotate, they will begin to flash. So if we start with the first icon just here, this one is for your heating. Click on it, heating is off. All we now do is rotate and pick whatever temperature we would like it to be inside the motorhome, and it will go right the way up to 30 degrees. So once you've decided on a temperature, click to store it in, and you'll now see a little flame has appeared above that icon. That little flame there just represents the heating system, and it's just letting you know that you've set a parameter. Whenever the heating is in operation, that little flame will begin to flash, and it will continue to flash until it achieves the temperature you have asked it. If we now move to the next icon, this one here is for your hot water, and again if I now click, it is off. Rotate, and we can heat hot water in eco mode, which will give us a temperature of about 40 degrees. We can heat in hot, which is about 60 degrees, and we can also perform a boost on the boiler. The boost is extremely handy if there's going to be more than one of you having showers in quick succession of each other, or if you just want hot water really quickly. If you do perform the boost and the heating is running, the heating will turn off as it needs to use the extra power. And again, the icon will continue to flash until it has achieved the temperature you have asked it. After heating and hot water, we then have power source. So currently, to power up the heating and the hot water, we are using main supply, indicated by the two little lightning strikes up here. And it is main supply using 2 kilowatts. If I rotate, I can lower the power consumption to 1 kilowatt, which is extremely handy if we're on a low amp site to try and avoid tripping. If we have both power sources available to us, we can use a mixture of gas and mains at 2 kilowatts, or a mixture of gas and mains at 1 kilowatt. These settings here are very handy in the winter months if you want to get up to temperature really quickly. It will only use the gas as it is required. And if we have no main supply at all, we can solely run on gas. And you can see we have a little picture of a gas bottle just there. After that, we then have circulation fan. The circulation fan is for the heating system, and we have eco mode, and if I rotate, I can turn the fan up to high. We can also use it to vent the motorhome as well if we turn the heating off. If we now drop to the lower icons, this first one here is for a basic timer. So if we now click on it, we can set a start time and then select an end time, and then we just decide what we would like on within that period. If I now turn the timer on, the timer icon will come up there, and within that time period those settings would then apply. And if I now turn it back off again, we can now return to it and alter it again. Next we have clock set. And then lastly we have the settings menu. So within that we have offset, which is just for the thermostat, which is just there. If you don't think it's quite correct, you can adjust it. We have temperature, just if you prefer it displayed in Celsius or Fahrenheit. Brightness of the screen. 12 or 24 hour clock. Language. Index, which is more for the technicians, it just lets them know what software it's running. And then lastly, full factory reset. From time to time, these control panels will throw up error codes. They will usually be something relatively basic. So at the moment we're running on main supply, so if I pulled the mains lead out or we tripped, etc., it would indicate on here that it's lost power. You'll get a warning triangle and a series of numbers and letters, and if you Google it, it will tell you what the problem is. If you are running it on gas and you run out of gas, again, it will throw up an error code to let you know. And obviously, if there's something more seriously wrong, again, it will throw up an error code. 9 times out of 10, if they are basic, you can just make it put itself out just by rectifying the problem. If that doesn't happen straight away, if you've still got stuff running like I have at the moment, just turn them off, because it can reassess a lot faster when it's not trying to do lots of things. If that still doesn't work, the good old-fashioned turn it off, turn it back on again, hold the button down until it turns off, and then turn it back on. And again, if you still have the error code, lastly try the factory reset. It doesn't hurt it in any way. Sometimes these just need a hard reset and they will then run again absolutely fine. With the Truma system, it can also be controlled through the Truma app. If you are going to do that, you need to download the app onto your device. And then once you've done so, make sure the Bluetooth is turned on and then launch it. Once you've launched it, it will then ask you to come to the iNet box, which in this particular model is located just here. It will ask you to press the Bluetooth button, which is just located here. It will then send out the Bluetooth signal and you will commence connecting up to it. Once you've connected, you can then control the heating and the hot water system locally via Bluetooth. You can also control it from further afield if you pop in a pay-as-you-go SIM card and then register it through the app. If you do so, once you've registered it, the GSM light will stop flashing. Whilst we have this cupboard open, we have the digital amplifier just here for the television aerial. We don't really need to do anything with this. We can control the boost just here, but most of the time just leaving it on maximum will suffice. Beneath that, we then have the solar panel regulator. Again, we don't need to do anything with this. The solar panel will charge both leisure and vehicle batteries as required. So you'll see at the moment we have solar on and that it is actually charging at the moment. When it's not required, it will go into float mode. And obviously if there's a problem with it, you will get a red alarm light. Also in here, we have the Huawei motorhome Wi-Fi. SIM card needs to be inserted before use. SIM card is all in the sealed packet just here with the quick guide just here. So once you've inserted this, follow the quick guide and off you go. Avtex television just here. Behaves like most normal TVs would at home. This one is plugged in and will run on 12 volt though. But if we now turn it on, we have the TV guide just here. So it's just literally hit it, pick whatever you want to watch. As you change location, it will need to be retuned in, and that is what this orange button is here. It's the fast retune, so just hold it in. It will take you straight back to the retune menu. Just hit OK, and it will then retune itself back in again. This television does have a DVD player and USB plug-in points as well. If we now remove the cushions from the dinette area, you will now see we have the fresh water tank just here. So the water pump sits here. We can also gain access to the fresh water tank just here if we want to clean it. If we are going to be using both travel seats, we need to drop this section just here, and you'll see we have two pull levers, and then we can drop it out of the way. Also down here you will find a little switch. It is on when it's illuminated, and this controls the heater in the waste tank. So as it is an external tank, if you are using the motorhome in extremely cold climate, you can pop this on to avoid any frost damage occurring to it. There is not one in the fresh water tank, as it is an internal tank, as you've just seen. If we now just pop the cushions back again, the fixed table has this lever just here, which will lock it into place and stop it from moving about. To release it, just pull it, and then as you can see, we can then slide it from left to right, forwards to back. We can also rotate it, and that is just done by pulling down just here. And then to extend it, all we do is we loosen off this side and the other side, and then pull and flip over, and then tighten everything back up again. If we now remove the cushions just here, we have the battery charger just here, and we then have the main strip switches just here. So we have all the individual MCBs here, and then we have the main RCD and test button just there, and then we have the 12 volt fuses all just here. So if something's not working on 12 volt, just check to see whether or not a fuse is blown. Extractor just here, so light on and off on this side, and then fan on and off just here. Hob, so we have the electric hot plate here, which will work when hooked up to main supply, operates just here. And then we have the two gas rings, so just push in, twist, and push the igniter. Beneath that we then have the oven and grill. Push in to the left for the oven. And then to the right for the grill. Cutlery drawer just here. This is also where you will find the gas isolation taps for the motorhome. So we have heating and hot water just here. Then we have the fridge, the barbecue point and the cooker. They're all in the on position and they can all stay like that if you wish. They are more for maintenance than anything else. I always say if you smell gas in the motorhome, go to the source and turn the gas bottle off. Microwave just here. It's advisable to remove the contents for travel. Again, this will work when you're hooked up to the main supply. We have quick start just here and stop, and then we have all the normal stuff here. As you can see, this is also a grill and combi oven as well. Beneath it we have the Thetford fridge freezer, on and off just here. This is an automatic model, so as long as you are on A for auto, it will find the best power source it can for you. So because we're currently hooked up to main supply, let's put us onto mains with a little picture of the 2-pin plug. If I now went outside and pulled the mains lead out, it would then automatically attempt to fire itself up onto gas. And as soon as we start the engine, it will then automatically go over to 12-volt maintain to keep itself cold whilst on the move. As you can see, the screen will go dark again after a few seconds, but you will get a little green light just there to let you know it's on. If I now just tap it, it will re-illuminate. You can take it out of auto if you wish, so I can manually put it onto mains, manually put it onto 12-volt maintain. We're going to get a little error code at the moment because the engine isn't running, and I can manually put it onto gas. But to be fair, auto is the easiest one to have it on. Temperature control just here. And then we also have here the unit's anti-condensation jacket off and on. The condensation jacket needs to be basically on in warm climate. This will stop a build-up of any water running down the back of it, which would cause a puddle underneath it. You can leave it on all the time if you wish. It will not harm it in any way. It just consumes a little bit more energy. We then have the freezer box just here and the fridge beneath. Wardrobe just here. And above my head you will find the Omnivent fan. To operate this, wind the roof vent up, and then middle button will turn the unit on. And then we have arrows out for extraction, arrows in for cooling, variable fan speed just by pressing. Do make sure that all roof vents are down for travel. Washroom just here. So we have the toilet just here. To open to the cassette, just slide the grey lever across, push to flush, and then close to the cassette again on the grey lever. If you leave this open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you do feel resistance, just make sure nobody's left it open. Level indicator just here, so this will rotate round to red when the cassette needs emptying. We then have the shower and the screens are located here. Do make sure that they are fully secured for travel. Basin, storage beneath it and storage above. The light switch is located just here. If we now go underneath the fixed bed, we can gain full access to the storage area at the rear. You will also find the spare wheel just here, and then tucked underneath here is the Truma combi boiler, and you will also find underneath here the drain valve for it as well. So the boiler's drain valve is this device just here with a little blue triangle diamondy thing on the top. These particular drain valves are automatic, so if the temperature inside this motorhome drops below about 3 or 4 degrees, it will automatically open and then drop all the water out of the boiler to frost protect itself. If you are going to manually drain it, you need to make sure the water pump is turned off, and then you need to twist the blue diamond on the top. When you do so, a little blue button is going to pop out at the base of the unit, and it will then drain out. To close it back up again, twist and then push the blue button back in again to reset it. To refill the boiler, fill up the fresh water tank and turn the water pump back on again, and it will then commence filling it back up again. I always suggest that if you are draining down for winter when you're not going to be using it, once you've drained the boiler, open up all the taps in the motorhome as well, because this will help in releasing any airlocks in the system. So when you come to fill it back up again, when you turn the water pump on, open the taps up, they'll cough, they'll splutter as they force the air out of the system. Once they're running freely on hot and cold, close them, and then the system will fully prime. If this auto drains, all that will happen is the blue button will pop out at the bottom. So to reset it, all you need to do is push it back in. The only time you're touching the blue diamond is when you are manually draining it. If it's auto dropped and you're pushing the button in and it's popping straight back out again, it's because it's too cold in the motorhome, and you will need to turn the heating on to allow it to reset.